world of party spots and bars, not every business succeeds. It could be a failure of management or ideology. But the excuses these people gave will leave you facepalming. I mean, I can't fathom what made John say this in sheer disappointment.
30 years I've been rescuing bars, and I have never seen anything like this.
From bar owners trying to explain away their failures to staff members desperately justifying their mistakes, it's a never-ending deluge of lame excuses and mind-boggling mental gymnastics. Trust me, you're not ready for this outrageous excuse, which will probably make your eyes roll out of your head. And John simply couldn't make heads or tails of it.
I saw an animal in here before.
That's a squirrel.
How can we leave that there?
Okay, but what if his children are in there?
So let's get into this dumpster fire of a disaster, shall we? So back in '92, Renee had a brilliant idea to create a bike-themed bar, which was supposed to be the hottest spot in town. But guess what? It became irrelevant faster than a TikTok trend. How did they end up in such hot water that they had to call for a rescue? Well, the answer should be obvious. Get ready, cause it's about to get real cringe up in here. You see, when it comes to this owner, she had a whole arsenal of excuses lined up to defend their and their employees' failures. And we're not just talking about one employee. Oh no. We're talking about a whole squad of them, all of whom dropped the ball super hard.
I'm not sure what it is. We're just barely holding on.
No doubt, she tried every trick in the book to reverse the bar's fortunes. From karaoke nights to pool tournaments, she threw all the spaghetti against the wall, hoping that something would stick. But here's the harsh truth. She never once paused to reflect on the real issue at hand. Instead, she conveniently shifted the blame to the general manager, Wayne. I mean, seriously? How could you expect your employees to care about your business when you've mentally checked out yourself? It's like setting them up for failure from the get-go. And guess what? Failure is exactly what followed. The bar was quickly sinking with morale at an all-time low. It's a textbook case of poor leadership, nothing more to it. Well, it's about time I quickly hopped into the issue here. Deborah, who was here to help them with hospitality, was pissed at them, and for good reason.
For leaving their sections, going outside for cigarettes, which is biggest pet peeve of all.
She definitely wasn't wrong. All she wanted to do was help, but I guess they were used to taking the bar for granted and couldn't follow simple instructions. This eventually led to a huge fight between Renee and Brittany. However, Brittany here, the waitress, was not okay with following orders. She said that she was asked to converse with the customers. What she forgot was that she was supposed to have a conversation in her area. I mean, talk about not paying attention to important details.
You conversate with the customers in your area. It's not that difficult.
But hey, how did Renee feel about such disrespect and talking back like that when all she wanted to do was just help out?
She's trying to help you.
You're staring at her like, what are you gonna do, take her out?
Brittany was such a menace. I mean, you don't even want that drama right now. She shouted and screamed from the rooftops that her paychecks were being bounced. She had been working there for free, and above all this, she wasn't hiding her rage in front of the guests. And that's just not the impression you would want for your bar, right? I mean, employees screaming and fighting with the owner? Not a good look, man. And when John confronted Renee that this wasn't the kind of drama she should be keeping around, her response was so fucking lame. Guys, you'll just have to hear it to believe it.
Oh, there's drama here every night.
Well, that's wrong.
I mean, Renee, come on, what the hell were you thinking when you said that? And talking back to John as well? The man was here to help you out, and you told him something as hideous as that? How in the world could you pass it off as something that happens regularly? Honestly, that's nothing compared to what happened at this next bar. When our main man John Taffer ventured into O-Face Bar, located in Council Bluffs Island, Iowa, he was in quite for an unpleasant shock. Owned by the adventurous couple Matthew and Karen Overmeyer, this bar was their retirement dream turned reality back in 2011. The unique name, inspired by Matt's nickname, instantly caught the attention of the locals, and the place was buzzing with excitement upon its grand opening.
My nickname is Mr. O-Face. My wife was like, why don't we call it O-Face?
Things were going pretty darn well for a while, with the bar raking in a cool $15,000 a month. Not too shabby, right? But this is where the story takes a wild turn. The owners, who had a good deal of overconfidence by now, started partying it up at their own joint. And to make matters worse, their manager screwed up big time. Well, let's just say that he forgot what professionalism meant. Not to mention that Karen, one half of the dynamic duo of owners, had a bit of a drinking problem, and she was often busy downing shots at the bar rather than managing her staff. To top it all off, she conveniently placed the blame on poor Matt for everything that had gone awry. Talk about passing the buck, right?
I could leave her in a better place.
Of course you can, but I'm not gonna let her pass the blame to you.
As far as I could see up to this point, the situation was dire. O-Face Bar was hemorrhaging money like there was no tomorrow, losing a staggering $4,000 every month. That's a humongous loss of nearly $20,000 in profits per month for those of you who are keeping score at home. And that deficit quickly racked up to a whopping $260,000 of debt, which was hanging over their heads like a dark cloud. With just 3 months left before the curtains permanently closed, they were in desperate need of a miracle just to stay above water. But John was just so disappointed in Karen. This woman was a mess. And bringing that mess into her own bar? Well, what exactly did you expect would happen?
Karen is sitting at the end of the bar, ringing a bell for drinks.
I haven't even gotten to the best part yet. This couple spelled trouble like no other. And I don't even understand why John was helping them after all of their BS. Before I get into the idiotic excuse they made to protect themselves, do you remember the fight the employees had at the start? Well, here's a clip of what Karen said to the innocent employee because she wanted to side with the manager.
And why was I on the ground? Teresa, you ask for it all the time.
Is she even real? She looked so annoyed that she had to let the manager go because of a good employee. These guys don't even know the first thing about running a business. And Karen wasn't the only one messing things up around the place. Matt was equally at fault here. The way he treated his employees was downright disrespectful.
I'm talking to you. You understand me?
Well, you know things aren't going anywhere good because John took a step back from saving this place. And honestly, any sane person would. After the kind of craziness we've just seen from a few days of normal operation, I'd hate to see the place on a bad day. But what happened at this next bar could even make someone like Karen blush. You see, John Taffer was about to make waves at Bamboo Beach Tiki Bar in sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This tropical oasis was owned by Frank, who saw a golden opportunity and grabbed it by the horns. You feel me? He scored a hotel that conveniently housed this sick poolside bar using a genius loophole that made Bamboo Beach one of the rarest beach bars in the entire city. When this joint first opened up, it was straight fire. People were flocking to it like crazy, ready to soak up in the sun, sip on some dope cocktails, and vibe to the lively atmosphere. The cash was flowing, making stacks in profit every single week. It was lit, and both the bar and the hotel partied it up all the way to the bank.
To have days that we would bring $4,000 or $5,000 behind the bar consistently.
But hold up. Soon enough, things took a turn for the worse. Frank got really distracted by the fine babes he hired to work at Bamboo Beach. But here's the problem. He let his eyes wander and lost focus on running a tight ship. The spot started falling apart, and that messed with the profits and the hotel's reputation big time.
Definitely like the pretty girls. That's how we got hired here.
With that kind of behavior, do you really think he's serious about the bar? Now, we've reached a critical point. It was high time for John to swoop in and work his magic, restoring Bamboo Beach Tiki Bar to its former glory. But would he be able to save this sinking ship and bring back the vibes that made it legendary? Buckle up, you guys, cause it's about to go down with some of the lamest excuses ever.
This is not an ice bin.
No, but we use it
It
as
doesn't
ice.
have the drainage on it to be an ice bin. This is incorrect.
When John and the crew stepped into the kitchen, they came face to face with the infamous cook Barry, who had an attitude bigger than the fryer itself. However, John was quick to call out the greasy mess that was lurking in the depths of that thing. But that wasn't the only issue. Oh no, my friend. Turns out, the kitchen was seriously lacking in the hygiene department. Whoa, surprising, right? There were no covers on the food, and even the sauces in the fridge were left exposed. Like seriously, talk about a recipe for disaster. The sheer audacity to call this clean, even with it staring him in the face. The whole place was in a desperate need of a deep clean, so John wasted no time in putting the staff to work. There was no escaping the scrub brushes and mop buckets this time around. The following day, John gathered the staff for a much-needed meeting, but there was one notable absence, Mia. Surprise, surprise, she was running on her usual fashionably late schedule. I mean, seriously, how many times can someone be fashionably late before it becomes plain old tardiness? But hey, Frank obviously loves his beautiful ladies, and this is what he had to say about them coming late.
People show up late all the time in the bar business.
They
I've been
do.
in bar business my whole life.
Man, he's so predictable. I totally expected that from this guy. As the meeting commenced, Alyssa, the self-proclaimed head bartender, stepped up. But let's be real here, being the head bartender doesn't mean much when you're only in charge of handling the schedule. Talk about a power imbalance, am I right? I mean, come on, where's the accountability? It's time for some serious wake-up calls for this crew. John was about to lay down the law and show them that punctuality wasn't a suggestion, but a non-negotiable expectation. But obviously, things got really heated and you'd never expect what happened next.
When she comes to work, she gives me 100%.
When she comes to work,
Yeah.
you're making
And-
excuses for keeping her.
Yet again, not surprised. All in all, Frank really needed to take charge of his business because the pretty ladies won't be around all the time, especially when he's filing for bankruptcy. Well, another bar, another excuse. This time, it's Freaky Tiki in sunny Clearwater, Florida. If I didn't know any better, I'd say we're going for a tiki bar hat trick here. Freaky Tiki was the brainchild of Frank Theriault, who took the plunge and became the proud owner of the joint back in 2008. But he didn't embark on this wild adventure alone. His friend Sean Trimp hopped on board and invested in the bar, scoring himself a sweet 2.5 stake in the business. Talk about a tag team.
Me and Frank, we used to work at a nightclub together. Sean and I thought we could do it better.
To kickstart their journey, Frank and Sean managed to secure a whopping $500,000 in loans, and boy did their hard work pay off. In their 5th year, they raked in a jaw-dropping $1 million. Damn, trust me, the party was poppin' and the cash was flowing. With their growing success, the owners decided to bring in their buddy Woody to manage the joint. Little did they know that their once promising venture would soon take a turn for the worse. You hear that? Everything was going positively. Emphasis on the past tense. As the good times rolled, Frank and Sean found themselves getting a little too comfortable, if you catch my drift. The bar became their playground and they joined in on the party like there was no tomorrow. But quite expectedly, their newfound work-life balance was anything but professional. From excessive drinking to comping bills left and right, their behavior veered way off course, endangering the very foundation of their business.
You're drinking that beer and not paying for it, we're losing the $3 that we should be making on it.
It was time for John Taffer to step in, lay down the law, and bring Freaky Tiki back from the brink. Now, mind you, we're about to dive into this chaotic world where things have gone from lit to straight up dumpster fire. It's safe to say that this bar became a hot mess. The toilets and drains were straight up revolting, spewing out sewage right into the bar. Yeah, you heard me right, literal poop party. The customers were like, no thanks, we're out of here. It's no wonder they left in droves.
All 3 toilets overflow and make a river out the door.
And don't even get me started on their financial situation. Ugh, that was a total train wreck. Freaky Tiki was bleeding cash, losing a mind-blowing $6,500 every single month. And let's not forget the mind-boggling debt. I mean, $500,000 in the hole is definitely not chump change. It was like they swiped their credit cards and never looked back.
I maxed out credit cards and lost my savings. What would hurt the most is my family be in trouble.
John Taffer and his crew were gonna work their magic and help turn this disaster around. But would they be able to make Freaky Tiki the hottest hangout spot again? Well, it wouldn't be easy. Woody took it way too far and fought with John, trying to explain how he was doing all that he was asked to. Honestly, if you hear what people had to say about the food, you'd think the manager should at least check up on it. Because the cook clearly didn't bother listening to Woody, and that led him to be the wrong guy here. And what did he do? He held the owner accountable for it. Man, the excuses never end.
No excuses, Woody. Because I will hold your ass accountable. Am I clear?
Rightly said. He needed to hear that loud and clear so he could do better. But hey, as long as they're doing their jobs right and given proper training, at the end of the day, all is well. With that, let's now head straight to Brian's Ice House in Katy, Texas. The owner, Jeff Simon, took a leap of faith to chase his bar-owning dreams back in 2012. He ditched his boring accounting gig at the family practice and went all in, investing a whopping $1.1 million to own this notorious biker bar. But here's the deal, despite Jeff's efforts to clean up the place, he made one major mistake. He didn't bother changing the name. And let me tell you, that bad rep was sticking like gum to a shoe. The bar regulars were rowdy as hell and refused to bounce, making it impossible for new customers to even begin getting comfortable. Plus, the joint was located in the darkest corner of a dimly lit road, scaring away potential patrons faster than you can say, "Get me out of here!"
We didn't know where we were going. When we walked in, there was a fight.
And hold up, it's not just the customers who were catching some major bad vibes. The staff were extremely rude too. They were literally driving customers away like it was their full-time job.
This is ridiculous.
Now, let's get into the staff drama. So, check this out. The crew is all like, yeah, we're gonna turn this place around and make it better than ever. But hold up, things took a wild turn when Randy dropped a bomb and accused Kimmy of straight up stealing. You know, Jon Taffer ain't the one to mess around with. He's got cameras everywhere, capturing all the action. And guess what? He caught a real shady incident on tape.
Puts the key back by the register, puts the sweatshirt on without putting any money in the register.
Jeff, the owner, had some idea about what was going on, but despite that, he let Kimmy continue to work. Talk about keeping dirty little secrets. But this is where things get really juicy. Jon was like, "Jeff, my man, you gotta handle this situation as soon as possible." So Jeff summoned his inner boss and made the tough call to fire Kimmy for her repeated heists. And let me tell you, she didn't go down without a fight. She confronted Jeff outside, pleading for another chance, begging him to reconsider. Oh boy, here we go.
I don't steal, Jeff, you know that. Have I ever taken $1 from you?
But Jeff wasn't having any of it. He knew it was time to take charge and clean up his bar. So he turned to Shelly, the love of his life, for some backup. Kimmy kept saying that she wasn't stealing, but hey, Shelly was the boss around here and she talked like one. I mean, just go ahead and hear her out on this.
You take something that does not belong to you, it's stealing, Kimmy.
Oh, Kimmy, sorry, but I really don't feel bad for you. Getting rid of her was for the bar's own good. Well, I hope these owners get some major reality checks. Because let's be real, excuses aren't gonna fix a broken bar. You have to put in the work. Now, I know there are many more people who have gave some really lame excuses to try and save face, and if you think I missed any, make sure to drop them in the comment section down below. And don't forget to join me on my channel's Discord server, where we can continue the discussion about some of Jon Taffer's best bar rescue missions. But if you're looking for something a little extra, fear not, because I've got an exclusive server just for you. And if you thought this video was crazy, then don't forget to check out this next one right here, cause trust me, it's even better.